Aloha mai kako. Welcome to our ʻAha Wahine webinar. We're just going to wait for a couple minutes for a few of our panelists to join us and some more attendees to log in. We will begin shortly. Mahalo. Okay, let's just get started. Aloha kako. My name is Napua. I am one of the volunteers of the ʻAha Wahine Kūhinapapa. Welcome to our evening webinar. We're happy to see you all. Everybody is trickling in. Mahalo nui for joining us. We've been doing ʻAha Wahine webinars for the past 2 years about. During COVID, we had a series of webinars that featured intergenerational wahine celebrating their mana. And a lot of the presenters were ohana, a mother and daughter, or mother, daughter, granddaughter, sisters. And they shared about their practices and their ohana values that they've learned and passed on through generations. Today, we're going to be talking about our upcoming Haumea Chronicles and go over all the fun things that happened in the past Haumea Chronicles in 2012. Before we bring on our panelists, we'd like to mahalo our sponsors that have been helping us put on our webinars. Hawaii Hawaii's People Fund, Papaololo Kahi, Oiwi TV, e Kolomea Nui, the University of Hawaii, Roots and Ho'ulu Aina, and Ma'ili Kukahi Aina Mamona Academy. Today's webinar, we titled, this was going to be the pre-show foreplay for our March 26, 27 Haumea Chronicles. And we're going to talk about the performances that we're going to have in the show in March, and then talk story about how the show was in 2012. For those who are on the call, we would love to see and hear where you're from. If you'd like to put in the chat what aina you're representing this evening. I'm calling in from Pa'ala'akai, Waialua, on the north shore of Oahu. So feel free to put in the chat your aina. Mahalo nui for joining. We we'll just get started. We have the lovely Mehano Hind, who's going to be moderating our talk story today. And we will get started. Mahalo.
Yeah, aloha kako inapua. I just wanted to double check. I don't see that we're live on social media yet.
Correct.
Yeah, we're working on that.
Okay, we might wanna. Should we wait to connect?
Yeah, we go try connect and then see how our cross posting goes. We are deeply missing Lei Maile today, who is our tech guru, who usually does our back end, but we shall see.
Okay, yeah, I see we
Hana,
have
you
some
want to keep us up
attendees.
to date on anything while we're waiting? Why don't you tell us about the parade on the 25th?
Okay, yeah, that'll be good for everyone that's on here right now. You know, on Saturday, March 25th, the Prince Kuhio Parade will be going through the homesteads of Kapolei. And it usually is always in, it's usually always in Waikiki, you know, but because of the legacy of Prince Kuhio being, of course, the Hawaiian Civic Clubs. There's so much things that he did, but one of his largest legacies is the homesteads. We decided, hey, let's go put the parade in the center of the largest concentration of Hawaiian homestead and Hawaiian homesteaders that we have in the Pai'aina, which is called, and that area is called Kavole, yeah, with the three homesteads that is there. And so from 5 to 7 p.m. on March 25th, along Kapolei Parkway, from Kapolei Hale, which is the city building, the city and county building, out there all the way down to Kamakana Ali'i, right, which is a shopping center named after Prince Kuhio because it sits on Department of Hawaiian Homelands. From Kapolei Hale down to Kamakana Ali'i is about a 2-mile stretch. And we join all of you and all of our community to come and sit along the roadway and enjoy a parade. We have about 80, I think it was at last count, about 80 different units, and they vary from pa'u to floats to cars to marching bands to civic clubs. Also, the governor is going to be there, the mayor is going to be there. Yeah, we're gonna have a good time. Then there's a ho'ike after at Kamakana Ali'i, where they'll be accepting ho'okupu for Prince Kuhio, and there'll be a wiha time down there. So yeah, come on down on that day.
I see Ka'ahiki in as an attendee. Oh, there she is. Aloha Ka'ahiki.
Aloha kako. E hui kala mai.
No problem, no problem. We're just waiting to see. So are we live yet on social media? Just wanted to make sure.
It says we're live, but Kim is still working on it.
Okie dokie. So I'm just double checking too on my phone. I want us to all be able to share it out on our social media platforms when it does become, come live, and we can go ahead and share that. I'm sorry, my phone is beeping, beeping, beeping. Let me just turn it on silent here. And yes, we have Ka'ahiki. Ka'ahiki, do you know if Kumehiko is going to be able to join us tonight?
She was saying that she couldn't get on.
Okay. No problem. So we are live with the participants that we have in the room tonight. So aloha mai kako to all of you who are here joining us in the room tonight. We have Puali Lia, Kula, Ke Alohi, Kilihea. Let me see if I get this name right. Marufa and Nani. Aloha mai kako to all of you. And I am assuming all of you women on here have been, following the ʻAha Wahine platform, for some time now. So tonight we're going to get into a discussion about an upcoming performance that's happening on Sunday, March 26th, and Monday, March 27th. Right, so and the reason why that Monday is because that's the Prince Kuhio holiday. So we're having those two performances will be at 2 p.m. in the afternoon, right? So that's a kind of good time, midday. Yeah, you still have some time in the morning to do things, and you have some time in the evening to go home and rest up for the next day. We want to make sure that we created that space for all of you after our event. And I love that they titled this, and Kahiki, you will love this too, titled this the Foreplay before the Haumea Chronicles, right? And really, before we go any further, I wanted Kahiki to introduce yourself. And I realized too, I forgot to introduce myself, but I'll let Kahiki. Kahiki?
El.
Yeah. Ovai oi. Ho'olauna. Yeah.
Aloha kako.
Yeah.
I'm Ka'ahiki, and I'm so happy to be here to share all of this with all of you, Haumea. And it's a wonderful platform for us to be able to express our voices as Wahine, as Mana Wahine, and to share in our writing, to share in, I guess if you want to go deep, I feel that a lot of times the writing comes from experienced, different experiences, different types of trauma even. And I know for me, that's where all of this, a lot of this new iteration of Haumea Chronicles has stemmed from.
Well, Kahiki, before we go into Haumea Chronicles, just introduce yourself.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, let's find a little bit about you. Yeah.
All right. I'm Ka'ahiki. I'm 61 years old. I'm a mother, and I'm a Haumea. I met Mehana and all of these wonderful women probably 12 years ago. We were all at Kamakakuakalani in our graduate program. And so now I'm here because this is a bucket list. This is a bucket list for me, this opportunity, and I'm just happy to be able to share with all of our Haumea. And thank you, ʻAha Wahine, Kūhinapapa, and all of you out there. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Mahalo, mahalo. And I am Mihanokala Hind, also a mother, and I was, a student and a proud graduate of Kamakakuokalani and the master's program there, both the bachelor's, master's, and I spent considerable amount of time there just as a staff member, and also around that time that I was there at Kamakakuokalani, these group of women who have been organizing these talks ever since then and kept up the movement for ʻAha Wahine, we're planning an ʻAha Wahine at that time. And so one of the features that occurred, and I'll just jump right into it, and Kahiki, that you can jump in after, one of the features of the ʻAha Wahine, the actual gathering of Wahine in 2012, was a night performance called, it was called two things. Some remember it as the Haumea Chronicles. Some remember it as the Haumea Chronicles, right? And we really kind of wanted to take back that word, and really take the mana back for that word, and not just keep it in the sense that people know Haumea, which is, at that time it was like, oh, something that was Haumea was horrible, right? Defiling was the English term used all that time, right? And so it really kind of tainted this view of women and our menstruation and, the things that we did. And we decided to kind of take that back and own that word in a different way, and show that the real meaning of Haumea and Haumea is that it's a time of a lot of mana. That is the time where we are, as women, showcasing our life-giving goddess ability, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I love that.
But in that was the night performance. But in order to have gotten there, right, to that night performance, which featured about a dozen women, right, who presented on stage poems, skits, song, hula,
Anika.
oli, rap, monologues, right? In order to get there, there was a spark. There was a spark of creativity that happened, and now I'll pass it over to Kahiki to talk a little bit about that.
Okay. Thank you, Mihana. I think Kameha'iku and I, and she is my pakana. We have this spark in our energies. And when we met, she was in women's studies, I was in Hawaiian studies, we were both in grad school. And it was just this coming together of, hey, there's this thing, vagina monologues, but we're Native Hawaiian women. It's different. We have a different concept of, we have our akua that are right, they're a part of us, they are us. And so that is very principle, that differs us from many other wahine. But at the same time, we all share that, that bleeding and those things that we as women share, right, together, that ability to birth. And so I've always been very, very fascinated with Haumea, because she is the goddess of miraculous birth. And if I could have a baby from my ʻuha, or from my palm, or I would have had a lot more children, I think. But I think Kameha'iku and I, we thought, hey, we can do this ourselves, and we can make it, more interesting and more focused on our native lens, the way that we see the world as mana wahine. And that's kind of where it sparked from. And then just crazy times together, laughing, and then we're like, hey, that's funny. And that's where it began for us.
Yeah, that was great. So some of you out there might have remembered, back in the kind of early 2000s, right? Or like mid 2000s, there was this production, this stage production called The Vagina Monologues, and it was a scripted show that featured different vignettes. And it was all about the vagina. Yeah, and I know when I first saw it, I was blown away because what it had done was it opened up conversations about a subject matter that we were told that we weren't supposed to talk about. Right? They say you're not supposed to talk about that. You're not supposed to talk about your vagina. You're not supposed to,
About your bleeding, you're not supposed
yeah,
to
and talk about your menstruation or talk about the right, all these and then when I saw the production, it made me think to myself, my goodness, this is life. Like, this is just life as it is. And yet, because of, societal norms or religious practice or, even law, we weren't allowed to be normal with our own bodies. Yeah, we weren't able to feel normal about that, let alone feel the goddess inside of us, right? Like
Right.
that was never allowed. Like, you weren't allowed to, definitely not to do that. And then I thought it was so clever of you two, of you Kahiki and Kameha'i, to sit and pose the question to yourselves about, wait a minute, but we're Hawaiian Wahine. What does that look like? What does that sound like for us? If we're talking about our Wahine-ness, right? Who comes to mind? What comes to mind? What is it that we want to talk about at this time, right? And so the naming of it, right? You guys have a whole story about how you guys went back and forth.
Yeah.
Right. What was some of the other names?
Oh, we had Kameha'iku was thinking about kohe monologues.
Yeah.
Kohe monologues. What was there? There was another one.
That's dope too.
Haumea Chronicles. Yeah, there was quite a few, but Kohe monologues was pretty awesome. But then, in our learning, in our studying and learning about the goddess Haumea, and that is who we are as Wahine, then the name just became itself, right? Because that was the proper name that we should have chosen all along. But it illustrates growth, and it illustrates transformation, which is our Haumea. In birth, that is transformation. We're birthing a child from an embryo all the way up, all of the stages. We are Haumea. We transform humans.
Right. We carry them in us, and shout out to Dr. Lidikala Kame'elehiva,
Yes.
of course, who has been a mentor to many of us, but also in her teachings at Kamakakuokalani, right, made us very aware, right, that in the chants is recited the simple story about how Mea, and giving birth, but also mating with the successive generations after her, right? And an ignorant mind would say, "Ill, that's incestuous. What's going on here?" Right? But she taught us to be very clear. No, what that teaches us is that Haumea, right? That ability, that mana that we all have inside of us as Wahine, when our mothers give birth to us, at the time that we are formed and being given birth to, we already hold the eggs of our daughters and our granddaughters inside of us. and so the future generations, right? And that little piece of wisdom that most of us didn't get until we were in our 20s, some of us in our 30s and 40s, right? After being Wahine for all that time and then being told, wait, what?
Yeah.
I've already had the eggs of my grandchild inside of me from birth. That's not something, that comes later, but just having that understanding and then our knowing that our people had that wisdom before they had microscopes and or ultrasounds or any of that kind of technology. So that's, again, shout out to Professor Kome'ele Hivo, who always talked to us about the Paliku genealogy and Haumea and the Haumea Nuia Iva Iva, the wondrous bodies and forms of Haumea. um, and so in the production that happened in 2012, Kahiki, what I really loved is that you guys put together a showcase that had a range of ages, right? We had girls who were still in high school,
Yes.
all the way to, I think probably the oldest performer at that time was in, say, what, 50?
Yeah, 50, probably 53.
Okay, yeah. And the topic areas that were discussed, I mean, more than even just talking, this is what was different than the vagina monologues. More than just talking about the vagina or the perceptions or, that kind of stuff. Guys really dug deep into, and you were alluding to this earlier, but dug deep into some issues that really affect us as Wahine. Yeah, what were some of those areas?
Well, one of them was it was a new thing back then, 11, 12 years ago, online dating. That was like,
Right.
what? Who is doing this? And I've been out of that, but I did a whole montage on online dating and on all the people that I met online and the catfishing that goes on and all of that. And so that was interesting. And then dating after you've been married for, like 30 years. And then you're back out on the dating scene again, and you're in your 50s. So
Right.
that was that was funny. And there was a lot of
Yeah.
comedy, but at the same time there were tragic things that occurred, because when you're out there and you're playing around and you're just having a good time, you're meeting people. And then STDs became a very very concerning issue as well, and any kind of disease that you can't cure because you've had sexual relations with people unprotected. So
Mhm.
yeah, that was just
What
those
was
were.
and there was a range of issues, but I really love the way you guys addressed. And I'm going to say, rather than saying sexuality, more the way you guys address sensuality, right? Like you guys were able to present on stage in a room full of about 600 women,
Yeah.
right? And talk about sex, which again, besides the vagina, that's sex is definitely a topic that we're not, we weren't supposed to be talking about it like that, especially on stage in front of people, right? But you guys talked about it in so many different ways, right? From, I think, from those stories, right,
Yeah,
that you guys
body
shared
image. Remember
about,
the body imagery? We had
right.
Luna Kalakau Hatayama. She did one. She did a thing on a vignette on gastric bypass, because I'd known this participant from high school, and she was probably about 350 pounds in high school. Then after high school, she had gotten, right before the Chronicles, she had gotten gastric bypass surgery. So she did a whole very honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a heartfelt,
Very vulnerable, you know,
vulnerable.
and the reaction from the crowd that was so amazing, because that's when we realized, I think I was sitting in the crowd, and that's when I realized, wow, what's happening on stage is just a mirror to what's happening in many of us who are sitting here watching this. This happens in our life, and we're just not able, we're to talk about it. You know, we've kind of been shamed into kind of locking away our sexuality and our sensuality, right? Our ability, our just amazing ability to be sensual and loving and fun, right? And of course responsible, but um, just the plethora of experiences that
Come
we
with that.
are, and that we can only usually have behind doors of shame. Like that's not, you're not supposed to talk about that. So I was so just amazed at the way you guys were able again. And then sexy pale mai, like the rap song, at
Yes,
the end that Kulani
Kulani
does.
Jeremiah.
Right. And she's going to do version 2.0 in the next one coming up on March 25th and 26th and 27th. Um, but like that, there was a range. There was some seriousness about talking about sexuality and sensuality. There was some very informative, talking about it and raising the red flags for other women too, and just saying, hey, beware, be watchful of this. And
Okay.
then there was, the complete joy of talking about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So awesome. Um,
But we did do it. We were just acting out our real lives. Uh, we had a whole thing, a vignette about YB, and that was, it was naughty night at Rumors. So we were acting like our normal Friday and Saturday nights that we would go out to Rumors, and that we were in grad school, we were working, and then on the weekends we were going out to Rumors. And so we did that whole sketch with us getting ready, the before party, and then all the things we talked about while we were doing that. It's just like our Haumea, our women, our Wahine, when we gather together and we're getting ready to go somewhere, or we're getting ready for an event. It's exciting just to hang out, just to feel that energy between us. And I think that we were able to encompass that with Haumea Chronicles at the time. And hopefully once again.
One of the other things that I enjoyed is out of the younger participants, right? We had a young women's, they were all in high school at the time, grief group, right? That was put together by KLCC.
Yes.
And them being able to share their poetry of loss, right, and resilience, right? So it just wasn't about loss. It wasn't about the people and the family members that they had lost, but it was about a story of hope and resilience. I think that had a huge impact on our audience too, right? Those kind of style, that kind of being able to again speak freely about grief, and get support from a room full of Wahine who have, at various times in their life experienced, similar or the same thing.
Yes. It's very
Yeah.
interesting when we look at those young women now, because, at that time, all of them, and there were three that I'm speaking about, they were all in high school, and they were all almost the same age, within 2 years of each other. And so that was probably, they were 17, 18, 19 at the time. Now they're turning 30.
Yep.
And so we have a couple of them. I've kept track of them.
Yep.
Two of them. And two of them went and got their master's degrees. So So
so
they have their
awesome.
master, and one of them is married on the Big Island to a husband that's a rancher, and they have children. They're very happy with their life. It's like subsistence living, but on a ranch. And I just watch all the things that she cooks, and her husband makes this delicious food because it's so fresh. And I love that. I love that our young women, um, they became these beautiful, beautiful images of Haumea.
Yeah, awesome. That is so awesome. Now looking to this next one, right? This next one coming up this year. So we're all a little older now too, right? We're no longer college students.
Nope.
We're still being inspired, I think, but like college students, like how we were at Kamankaku, right? It was such an inspiring space and time. And I am so excited about this one.
Me too.
Having been able to see the acts and the performances that are coming up, I just got to tell everybody, we got some amazing talent coming
Oh
forward.
my gosh,
You
yes.
know,
New playwriters. Yeah.
right? Are you two are doing? I just can't not wait till the audience gets a taste of you two, right? Like just
Woo-wee.
the the fun of your guys' story and how we can all kind of relate to it.
To
You
naughty
know,
aunties. Naughty aunties.
yes, yes, yes. So you guys will see the appearance of are you guys aunties? Are you guys auntie Puka Puka and auntie Banty?
Yes, we
Yeah,
are. Yes, we are. And
yeah.
we're Anake Puka Puka and Anake Palimai.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. And so just to go over a list of some of the performers that are going to be there, right? Of course, Ka'ahikis and Kamahiku are going to be in this one. And I really credit them for being the originators of the Haumea Chronicles and this idea of having like a vignette style. It's almost like those, when we're in the 70s, this type of show was popular,
Variety
right?
shows.
Variety shows. And so if you remember that style of performances, you'll
Sonny and
love this.
Cher.
Yeah, you will really
Laughing.
love this.
Yeah.
There's something for everyone. Um, and then we have, I think if I'm scrolling through, one of I consider it to be one of our bebes because one of our babies, she's not a baby anymore, but she's a halal baby, but Lele Ae Kahalepuna Wong,
Fabulous.
who wrote
Exciting.
literally in one rehearsal, she wrote a whole
Like
new
15
piece.
minutes.
Right, she wrote a monologue that you know kind of takes us on a little journey. So if you guys are familiar with Leleae, she's been in a lot of theater productions, throughout here in Honolulu. And you might see her at Manaola because she's down
Yeah.
at the Manaola store. She also works there, but she is a brilliant actress and
And playwright.
and a playwright
Yes.
now. So we'll have her on the stage. We also have this fabulous Star Kalahiki, right? Who, whenever she jumps on the stage, she always wows the crowd, right? And she's known for being, just one of our most talented singers that we have here, right? One of our divas that we have here. But I think people are going to really love, and this is again, kudos to you folks, Ka'ahiki. This style of performance will allow Star to be on stage like she's never been on stage before.
Yes.
It allows her to become the kind of natural born storyteller that she is. So I cannot wait for you guys all to experience that too.
Me too.
While we're talking about singers, right? We also have Chardonnay.
Yes.
And Chardonnay, I've loved her music and her presence since the first time I ever saw her, on stage. I've just always loved the way that she just gives off energy, right? She just always gives this really amazing energy. And she's known for, you know, doing island music and R&B music and just really getting the party started, you know, kind of thing. And she's going to be joined by Brittany Paiva is going to jump on stage with her. And so her performance, I think I'm really, really looking forward to, and the story of how that performance came to be, right?
Yes.
Um, Also, who else
She's
do
also
we?
a wonderful actor,
Oh
Chardonnay.
yes,
She's a wonderful
yes,
actor, so expressive, just so much
yes.
energy. Yeah, I love her
I
stuff.
actually got to see a sneak peek of both her, of Chardonnay and Star as the Mo'o, as Mo'o. I got them to see them act as Mo'o Wahine. They are scary, the best. And I say scary because it was so believable. I was like, after the performance was over, I was like, no, you guys are Mo'o, the two of you. You guys are Mo'o. Yeah, it's that couldn't be acting. That was that was just so on point. That must be just part of you two guys. But they were so amazing in that. Yeah, so Chardonnay,
We
great actor.
delve into the mo'o though. We delve into the mo'o realm in this as well because there's um Kameha'iku and myself, we come from Aina that is all just vibe. And
Right.
so, you know, I'm from Wainiha Kauai, my family, and Kameha'iku is Ioleka'a in the malu of Ioleka'a. And her Aina is just lush. And I just envision her as a mo because I've seen her jump off her waterfall on her Aina and come up and it truly was.
Cool. Are you talking about Kameha'iku?
Yes, Kameha'iku. Yes. This was when we were doing the last Haumea Chronicles. We were on her Aina for inspiration, and we thought we were gonna go and visit the mo'o, and she jumped off her waterfall and into her ice pond, and when she came up, she was the mo'o. That's not a lie.
Wow. Wow.
It was interesting.
That's cool. The next time, I mean, you know, I gotta let everybody know we have so much content that we don't have enough showtime right now for all the content that's been created for this show. Right. So I'm letting you guys all know, if you guys say Hanaho, the show not gonna stop because everybody has so much content to offer, and I would love to see you two guys as Mo'o too. Yeah, maybe battle the other two Mo'o. Yeah.
Right? You never know. We may
Right.
see many mo'o up there. We were not giving it away.
Right.
Nope.
Who else do we have coming? Oh, Auntie Caillou, you guys heard her voice earlier
Oh my
on this webinar. And we got a sneak peek into their presentation, but Ka'iulani Odom and Puni Jackson
Oh,
are gonna feature a presentation of they teach a class. There are many things, but one of the things they do, and one of the things that they've created, is a course for expecting parents to go through that helps really just center that ola and start off that ola right. So they help families who are helpai go through the process of learning about the different la'au, right? The different techniques to birth, healthy babies and keep mama healthy and keep daddy healthy. And so what they're going to present, they can't present their course on stage, but what they're going to present on stage, right? And Ka'ahiki, we both got to see a peek into what their presentation is going to be. I just gotta say, we all were in tears.
you're crying. You're crying.
We all were in tears after we saw their presentation.
Amazing.
and in good tears. I mean, like it's
Yeah,
good kind of tears,
joyful tears.
not sad tears,
Mm-mm.
not mad tears. It was just the tears of like pure joy and in awe, right? I've given birth.
Of
He's
our
given birth,
bodies, yeah, of our
right?
Haumea.
To see
So
it,
long.
to see our Haumea occurring in front of us was such an amazing sight. Yeah, for that alone, you guys should all come and tell all your friends to come to this performance.
And then
I'm
Pake,
not gonna,
remember we
right,
have,
I'm not going to give you any more about that particular presentation. You guys got to come and see it. But yeah, you were talking about Pake.
yeah, so we have a new theme, a new area, and that's female surfers. And so we are focusing on the west side of Oahu, in Makaha. And we have Pake Selman, who is a videographer, photographer, surfer, entertainer, creator. She's creating, and she filmed it, just finished filming it this week, her submission. And it's all about her journey as a female surfer and all of her wahine that she grew with and surfed with. And it's going to be so interesting to see us, our Haumea, on the ocean, as featured as our wahine surfers. So I'm excited for that.
I am too. And just to have a film. So we didn't have that element the last time, the element of film in there. So we actually have like a filmmaker. Pake is a well-known filmmaker, out there. She's done a lot of work that you might not know it was hers, but you've seen it
For
kind of
ʻAha.
before. Yeah. And so I'm excited to see her piece, because she really wanted to present it. And I said, you know what? You are so right. Historically, too, like not even just today. Today, yes, the Waianae Coast has produced some of the just more impactful wahine surfers, in our
Thank you, Real
modern
Sun.
day.
Yeah.
Right, Real Sun, of course,
Yeah,
being just the premier longboard surfer, from that side, but the raising generations of Wahine He'enalu, that comes out of that side of the island. Their families come from that side, so I'm loving that she's introducing that. But I mean, our conversations about the importance, the significance of surfing and Wahine and our history, like Hi'iaka kind history, Hi'iaka goes surfing. Keaumele Mele goes surfing. Kalana Mainu'u goes surfing in the Mo'olelo. There's such an there's a really prolific how should I say, prolific amount of surfing that women do in our history, and it ties in to the themes of our stories, that then inform us about what our values are, right? So I'm yeah, I can't wait for that piece.
And our ceremony, when we talk about surfing as a way to cleanse, as a means of cleansing, as there are so many ways that we know how to cleanse, and that we have to relearn our ceremony. So I think it's just a natural engagement in that, in that transforming of yourself through cleansing and surfing.
Yep. I gotta say, I'm not the greatest surfer at all. I still, to this day, and I thank my friends, shout out to Anoinoi Punua, Hi'ile Kavelo, like all those water women who have tried, got me out on a surfboard. I've yet to stand up though. I've more did like body surfing on, 9-foot surfboards. So one day I will be
Never too late.
Yeah,
I'm afraid to break my nose though. My friend Jolynn went out Maili Point, and she came and I saw her and she had broken her nose. The board hit her in the face.
Oh.
So I think that kind of stopped me from wanting to go. I don't want to break my
And maybe
face.
that's a comment. I didn't have any any danger because I actually never stand up. So, half of you hurt when you're just lying on the board and the wave is pushing you. Yeah. Like
You're
catching.
cleansing. You're cleansing.
Yeah, just cleansing. I'm out there. Pikai, kapukai. Yeah,
There we go.
kapukai. But speaking of that, I'm also excited to see what Anuinu Punua and the Wahine, the Keiki Ko'olau, produce in honor of those women who are no longer with us, right? And allows us to reflect on their presence from the 2012 Haumea Chronicles, but also to look forward as we continue, the lessons that they shared with us, right? So
Absolutely.
I'm excited to see, what they create to go onto that stage, and I know you guys all will too. Um, Kameha Ililani, right? So another one, no stranger to the stage. Kameha Ililani, aka Lani Girl,
Lovely
right?
girl.
She's been on many stages, mostly in doing Olelo Hawaii theater, Halau Hanakiaka and so forth.
So entertaining.
But she is going to bring to a stage a survey and survey results unlike any other that you've experienced before. So that's gonna be a lot of fun too.
The wet woods. The wet woods.
Right. I'm gonna give you guys one of the questions that she's asking everybody.
Oh.
This is my favorite one. If your ma'i had a theme song, if your kohe had a theme song, what would it be?
Oh my gosh, what would it be?
Kahiki, what would your kohe's theme song be?
Oh, I'm trying to think what it'd probably be like Megan the Stallion. Her.
Oh.
Megan the Stallion, her. That would be my theme song.
Yeah. So
go
for
check
all of
them
you,
out.
thank you, Napua, for posting it in the chat. But for those of you on here, what would the theme song for your kohe be, right? But that's like one of the questions that she surveyed, and I think her goal is to get like 100 Native Hawaiian women to answer her survey.
It's hilarious. It's hilarious.
Right.
She puts it together.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
We'll get a bunch of those, coming up. And I look forward to that survey. We're having this event. Speaking of Haumea, right? We're having this event at the Paliku Theater, right? And I'm saying that because I don't know how much more appropriate it can be. Of course, Paliku is the genealogy, the Haumea genealogy, right? That's her genealogy. It's also the mountain range, the Ko'olau mountain range, so famous for people who live in Kaneohe. They're looking up at the Paliku range there. And we're having it at Paliku Theater at Windward Community College, right? And we're having it in the daytime. We're having it on both days, on the 26th and the 27th, at 2 p.m. Because after the show's not over yet.
Nope.
Yeah, it's not over. The fun is not over yet. So intermission, we're gonna have food made by Tammy Smith, right? If you know Auntie Tammy, right? And we're making food for everyone, right? So if you bought a ticket, you'll have food, right, to eat and to share with everyone during intermission. After the show, though, we have set aside space and time for everyone in the audience if they would like to go back and kind of have like more conversations about what they saw on the stage, right? If there was something on the stage that that triggered thoughts and or questions, right? We'll have the rooms adjacent to the theater are going to be available for our use, and we'll have people in those spaces who will help guide conversations, and just it's a good decompression time, right? Like after you've seen a performance that has dealt with subject areas that some of them might be, um, ones that we don't want to leave you to go home with questions in your head, right? We
Yeah,
want you
trying
to
to
be
unpack it.
able to, yeah, hang out with us, unpack those questions that you have conversations that you thought maybe you couldn't have, about
Yeah, we
topic
saw that.
areas.
We saw that the last time, and that's why it became part of this, because the last time we saw that women were wanting to speak about all of the themes that we presented. There were so many, and it was all at, an hour, all of this information. And so women, the next day we had a half-day conference, and there were so many questions from the Wahine. So that's why these breakout rooms are going to be available to, if you got something on your mind, if you're triggered by something, or you're just, maybe even you want to do a cold read. We had so much material that there might be cold reads in the room if you want to try your hand at, acting. So there's a bunch of surprises after too.
Yep, yep, yep. So plan to spend some time, or you can go home after if you want. Yeah, nobody's keeping you there, but know that we're providing that space, to do that, there. Um, so yeah,
So much excitement and a lot of singing, just some fun things. Oh, no,
yeah. So thank you, Napua. Thank you, Auntie Kaiu and Jamie
thank
and
you.
Kim, for allowing us to come on to the ʻAha Wahine Kūhinapapa platform this evening to just share the news. If you haven't done so yet, go to the ʻAha Wahine, what is it, ʻahawahine.org or .com?
.org.
ʻahawahine.org.
.org,
Go to
yes.
ʻahawahine.org, and there you can register or get tickets for the upcoming performances on March 26th and March 27th. And now I'll mahalo Ka'ahiki for vala'auing with me tonight. And now I'll throw it back to Napua.
Always my pleasure.
Mahalo. Mahalo nui. Yes, we have 2 days that we're going to have our show, March 26th on Sunday for Wahine and March 27th on Monday for everyone and anyone to join. I'm really excited for the Afterglow Talk Story sessions, as Mehana was talking about. So if you can stay after, then I think you would just love it. And we want to thank again our sponsors, and a quick reminder to follow us on Facebook and Instagram. If you are following us on our social medias, mahalo nui. We've been posting a word a day on Wahine health, Wahine sexuality. We've moved from the Vakupuohi, or the puberty stage, when Kaikamahine, a girl, is growing up into a woman. And yesterday's word was kokopuna, or the first menstruation. And so we're going to progress into womanhood throughout the next few weeks, leading up to our Haumea Chronicles. So please follow and share if you like, and we hope to see you at the show. Mahalo nui for joining us, and hope you enjoy your po'aha evening. Mahalo nui. Ahui ho.
Aloha.
Aloha, ahui ho.